This is the instructional video on how to do the grading assignment. This comes straight out of chapter 15. The purpose of this assignment is that when you teach, you will need to develop a philosophy of grading that is consistent with your teaching approach and is effective for formative and summative assessments. And it needs to be valid for reporting students' achievement of standards and the learning objectives. So in this exercise, you will practice preparing students' report cards using 3 different methods: criterion reference fixed percentage, criterion reference total points, norm reference grading on a curve. So let's get started. First thing you're going to want to do is open up an Excel sheet. You can copy this exactly. This comes from chapter 15. Pupil A through J, last year's grades, the judgment, the deportment, and then their grades for this grading period, and then the max score for each assignment, the mean, the standard deviation, and the weight of each assignment. But it is exactly the same in your book and in this video. You're going to go down here and you can right click right here and you can rename this sheet. I would name it original, something like that, just so you can go back and forth. Mine's already named original, so I'm going to move it, and I want to move it to the end and create a copy. And so now I have the exact same sheet twice over, but I'm going to rename this one my fixed percentage for short. And here I'm going to delete what's in this B section and C section, and then D we don't need at all. So I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to right click on that and I'm going to delete, and I'm going to tell it to move shift the cells left. You want to make sure that everything down here moves, as well as the scores for each student. Then you're going to go up to B and you're going to put composite up here because we are calculating the composite score for each student, and then their grade. We're going to do a letter grade for each student. And so we're going to start in this cell right here, which is B2. So if you click on it, it'll highlight green and you can go up to the formula bar. So once you have highlighted the cell and we go up to the formula bar, we can start putting our formula in to calculate the fixed percentage composite score for student A. You're going to start by putting in an equal sign and 2 parentheses and then D2. And the reason that we are using D2 is because that is the first grade that student A has listed for this grading period. So although it is a 10 in there, we are going to do the specific cell that it is, D2. And this formula bar is going to calculate the formula for you. So all you need to do is put in the scores. So as we go along, it should make more sense. So we're going to start with D2, and we're going to go and make it out of the max score for this assignment, which is 10. And then we're going to close that parentheses up, and we're going to multiply it by the weight of the assignment, and the weight of the assignment is in D15. And we're going to do another parentheses there. So now you can see that the highlighted cells are the score for class 1 and the weight for class 1. So that should calculate correctly, and then we're going to add the next class assignment. So it is an E2 out of the max score, which is 10 again, close parentheses, times the weight, which is an E15, close, plus class 3's assignment, F2. Oh, I can already see a mistake I made. You need to make sure that there are 2 parentheses in here, so it will calculate correctly. So F2 out of the max score, which was 10, times the weight, which is in F15, close parentheses, plus parentheses, parentheses, G2 out of that max score, which was 15 because it is our first project. of this grading period times G15 plus quiz 1, which is in H2, out of the max score, which was 10, times H15 plus the quiz 2 grade, I2, out of 5, times I15 plus J2 out of the max score, which was 30, times J15, close parentheses. Okay, so when you look at your equation, all of these should be color-coded to each cell that you put in. All the cells should be highlighted. It should look exactly like this. You will know you've done it correctly once it looks exactly like this. So I'm going to hit the little check mark. You can also hit enter, but now we've got the composite grade for student A, and we can put in that they got a B. Now, next, I don't really want to do that for every person. That's going to take a really long time. The point of this is for it to be pretty quick. So we can use this equation again. The problem is that if you do this, it's going to give you zeros. And the reason it's going to give you zeros is if you click on it and then you click up at the formula, you can see that the wrong cells are highlighted. It moved it down. Although these top cells are correct, these bottom cells have multiplied every single cell by 0 because there are no values in here, giving you zeros in these little boxes. So we do not want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of those. Delete. And we're going to go back up here. Now, to be able to fix these certain cells that we want to fix, we hit Command T after highlighting in the formula bar. So highlight Command T, and then you see there's little dollar signs in front of all of these values. That means it has fixed these rows. The problem is that we don't want every single value to be fixed because we do want to move down in numbers, just not in letters, and we also want it to always be D15, E15, F15 because that's the weight, but we don't want the little the values, the numbers to be fixed. So I'm going to take out the dollar signs in front of each 2 because I do want those to move down. Okay, so I'm going to check my work, make sure each 2 does not have a dollar sign in front of it. It looks like they're all good. I'm going to hit the plus sign, and then I'm going to drag this down, and now I've got the composite score for each person, and it should, and they are correct. It should be correct. So now I'm going to put in the grade for each person. And that completes our first Excel spreadsheet, our first method, fixed percentage. And we're going to move on to the next spreadsheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit on our original again. We're going to right click and we're going to put move or copy, and we're going to move it to the end, create a copy, and start with our new copy. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to get rid of last year's grades, the judgment, and the deportment all the way. Right click on that because we don't need that row again. and then we're going to go in and do composite and grade. But this time we have a different formula to put in the formula. So before I go up to the formula bar, I'm going to first rename my sheet. You can just go right here after right-clicking right here. I renamed it total points just so I can keep them separate. The first thing I'm going to do on this second spreadsheet is go through the max score, and if your gradebook was really long and there were tons and tons of max scores, you probably wouldn't want to have to calculate all of those by hand. So you can go to K12. I just want to make sure I'm in the right cell. So if you click on K12 and you go up to the formula bar, you can calculate the sum of these cells. So sum parentheses D12 colon J12 and hit enter, and then you've got your sum for all of your max scores. So all of your assignments ended up to be 90 points in this round. Now we're going to go up to pupil A, composite score, so B2. We're going to go to the formula bar. We're going to hit our equal sign, and we're going to start entering our formula. Parentheses D2 plus E2 plus F2 plus G2 plus H2 plus I2 plus J2 parentheses out of our max score, which was 90. So we're adding up all of the points that they got for all the assignments and just dividing it out of the max score, not taking into account the weights this time. So this first composite score is going to be a 77, which is a C. And then we want to do the same thing we did on the last one. We're going to highlight our formula on the formula bar, hit Command T, and we want to make sure the 2's change. So we're going to delete those dollar signs in front of the 2's. And we can move this down. And we've got our correct score calculated for each person. That was super quick. And now the next table is going to be even easier. So just double checking all my scores are right, and they are. So this next table is going to be basically the exact same as this one. So I'm going to copy this table, the total points. No, I'm going to move it to the end. I'm going to create a copy. And here it is, the exact same table. These grades I do not need because on this table, we are going to rename this one curve. So we're going to take these students' grades and we are going to grade on a curve. And that means that our top 20% are going to get an A. Our next 30% are going to get a B. Our next 30% are going to get a C. The next 15% are going to get a D, and the lowest 5% are going to get an F. This is in, I believe, page 344 in the 8th edition of your book. It's the first set of numbers that the book has for grading on a curve. Our top 2 scores are going to get an A. That's our top 20%. Our next 30% are going to get a B. I am going to give this person a B because our next is going to be a C. And since they have the same percentage, I'm going to go look at their test scores and see that this person scored higher on their test. So they are going to get the B. We're going to give our next group their C's, move on to our 1D, and our bottom percentage, the F's. We are going to make one more table, which is going to be our compare sheet. So I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to put compare. And then I want to have just pretty much these the same. So let me see if I can copy paste that there. So our grade for 1, grade 2, method 2, and our grade for method 3. Last year's grade, and then the judgment, and the department. So you just enter in the grades as they are for part 1. You could even copy and paste them. Let's see. We'll copy those. We don't want that. We'll delete the cell, move them up for total points. We'll copy this one. And then for curve, and we will, uh-oh, it's not right. Oops. What did I do? Just keep hitting the backspace until things are right again. Maybe that'll work. There we go. And then you can fill in last year's grades from the original table and the judgment and the deportment, but you get to look at all 3 methods of grading and their grades side by side and decide which method is best for you, writing your paragraph based on the prompt, and seeing which person got which grade with which method. So if you guys have any questions, definitely course message us and we will be here to help you. I hope this video was helpful and thank you for watching.